Say uncle white people who still think police brutality doesn't happen.
Say uncle, or Jenks. Fuck, I had that as one of mine. Wait, who drinks? You drink.
Okay, I'm happy to drink.
Follow the rules. He has to drink, and then he gets to keep it.
I don't know what else is going to convince my white brothers and sisters that police brutality is a thing, that black people experience it in a disproportionate amount. And here's the thing, it's so much better now than it was 25 years ago, 50 years ago, 75 years ago, 100 years ago, 150 years ago. I mean, when the Civil War ended, what all white people had was institutional racism and brutality against blacks, from Jim Crow to lynching, and police brutality has been a part of that since the Civil War and maybe even before. And now the difference is everyone has a camera in their pocket, and police can't get away with it anymore.
Let me jump in here. We all know we've had a travesty and a tragedy here in Tulsa, and with Terrence Cruncher and his poor family, and the three of us went to the Vigil for Justice, and this was going to be my say uncle, which was the one pastor or preacher, I don't know what to call him because I'm not religious, but he said, it's not a couple bad apples. I love this metaphor, right? It's not a couple bad apples. It's a poison. It's a poison that's in the apples because you can't see it, right? Bad apples you can see and you know not to eat, but it's a poison in the apples, meaning it's systemic. It is an issue with policing.
Preach.
Right?
Preach.
Yeah, and so what needs to happen is changing our policing countrywide, not just statewide, countrywide. This has to happen. This is a weird kind of racist mentality that is subverted and weird. It's in the policing procedure that needs to be worked on through teaching and education and honest conversation, and it needs to be fixed.
Because if you don't think that white people get away with more sort of stuff, if you're one of those who say, well, if you just complied with police commands, you wouldn't have gotten shot. There for every instance of a black person who's been shot because they didn't comply with police orders, there's a white person who didn't get shot because they didn't comply with police orders. The examples are all over the place.
Justice.
That's right.
Liberty and justice for all.
Yeah.
My comfort is not more important than that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I totally agree. And then we're not going to make a change in the world unless we feel uncomfortable and say, why do I feel uncomfortable? Oh, I am implicit.
So part of my say uncle against white people who don't believe that police brutality exists is to say uncle to my local representatives, say uncle to my mayor, say uncle to my police chief, that to keep vigilant and to keep on them, that what are you doing to improve police and community relations? What are you doing to improve police training? What are you doing to reduce the amount of violence that's happening between police and suspects?
I think the greatest awareness of Terrence's tragedy is the actually helicopter's voice, where he said he looks like a bad dude. So that Terrence had no chance because he was labeled a very bad dude from the very beginning. And
people
that's
don't
perception.
understand what's wrong with that. And
That's
that
perception.
is why we need implicit bias training.
Right.
Because people don't even know that the fact that he said looks like a bad dude is wrong. Something's wrong with that. Because there's nothing except his size and color that make that so.
Why wasn't the officer's first reaction is, this guy seems like he's in trouble, how can I help him?
Exactly.
Not complying with police orders is not a license to kill. I mean, that's why we have the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. That's why we have the Fourth Amendment. Just because somebody doesn't follow orders doesn't mean they deserve to be shot. So, say uncle.
And it's no, nay, never. No, nay, never, no.